Welcome to Photoshop Lesson 10. Lesson 10 is entitled Painting with the Mixer Brush. So in previous lessons we've used brushes to perform various tasks. The mixer brush is unlike other brushes in that it lets you mix colors with each other. You can change the wetness of the brush and how it mixes the brush color with the color already on the canvas. Some Photoshop brush types can have realistic brushes, so you can add textures that resemble those in paintings you might create in the physical world. While this is a great feature in general, it's particularly useful when you're using the mixer brush. Combining different bristle settings and brush tips with different wetness of paint load and paint mixing settings gives you opportunities to create exactly what you want things to look like. So there are two different ending files. This is one of them. You're going to start with all of these empty and you're going to mix some tools, and then here's our final landscape, and you can see this looks like it was painted with a brush. Much better than what I would paint with a brush because I paint like a third grader. But regardless, those are the two things that we're going to end up with. So let's go ahead and open up our start file. So 10 palette start is what we want to open. And we can see that we've got nothing done. So let's go ahead and click File, Save As, and we're going to call it 10 Palette. We're going to change this start to have your last name. Make sure it's a Photoshop document, put it in your Lesson 10 folder, and save it. So now let's go up here to where your workspaces are, and we want to we're going to select Painting Workspace, and you can see some things have changed over here to where you have brushes. So let me ask you a quick little question. Which of these functions can the mixer brush perform? Can it mix two colors together? Can it control the wetness of the brush? Can it use an erodible tip? Or is it all of those? If you think it in your brain that it was all of those, you are correct. So our practice image includes a palette and 4 tubes of color, which you're going to use to sample the colors you're working with. We'll change settings as we paint different colors, exploring brush tip settings and wetness options. So select the zoom tool first, and let's zoom in on our select the zoom tool. Zoom into where you've got these tubes of paint and have an empty space above the red one. And then select the eyedropper tool. And then click the red tube to sample its color. You can see that when you do that, the foreground color is changed to red. Select the mixer brush tool. The mixer brush tool is this one right here. If you were in a different workspace, you wouldn't have that mixer brush, or it would be hidden. But because we changed our workspace to the paint, it is now on our toolbar. Choose Window, and then Brush Settings. And you see we have a menagerie of things. You probably have not heard the word menagerie today, but now you have. So the effect of the brush is determined by the wet, load, and mixed fields in the options bar, which are going to be up here. Wet controls how much paint the brush picks up from the canvas. Load controls how much paint the brush holds when you begin painting. Same as with a physical brush, it runs out of paint as you paint with it. Mix controls the ratio of paint from the canvas and the paint from the brush. You can change these settings separately. However, it's faster to select a standard combination from the pop-up menu. In the options bar, we're going to choose Dry. Wet is set to 0%, you see that here. Load is 50%. Mix is not applicable. With the dry preset, you paint opaque color, you can't mix colors on a dry canvas. So paint one continuous zigzag stroke in the area above the red tube. As you continue painting without releasing the mouse, the red paint will eventually fade and run out. So let's do that. So I'm painting, and you see that I ran out of paint, just like you would if you were a real brush. So now with the eyedropper tool, let's sample the blue color. So let's go back to our eyedropper tool, select blue. Select the mixer brush. And we're going to choose, in the brush settings, we're going to choose the round sketch ballpoint pen, the first brush in the second row. Round sketch ballpoint pen, so there it is. If the brush you select doesn't match the one shown here, you may need to resize these brush settings so you can see 6 things. So if you need to click and drag yours out, you can. So we're going to choose dry from the menu bar. Oh, hang on. Leave it like it is, and we're going to paint just to see what it looks like. Let's now choose wet and see what that looks like. You can see when you choose wet that it picks up some of the white background. It mixes with that. Notice when we did with the dry, you have a much darker opaque blue appears, and it doesn't mix with the white background. Let's now choose our eyedrop tool. Let's sample yellow. Go back to our mixer brush, and let's see, what do we want to do on this one? Let's choose pencil KTW1. Choose that one, and let's see, let's change this to dry. See what this looks like. And you see I ran out of paint. Let's go back up here and choose, let's go with very wet paint and see what that looks like. You see that the yellow mixes with the white. Let's sample green and go back to our mixer brush. And what do we want to do here? Let's go. How about this one? Hard round 30. Let's select that one. And let's choose dry and see what this looks like. There you go. So now just experiment on your own. Select some different brushes, select different things up here, try it out just to get familiar with some of the things that you can do. And I'm going to ask you a question. The effect of the mixer brush is controlled by the wet, mix, and what other field in the options bar? Is it shape, load, texture, or tone? If you thought in your brain load, you would be correct.